Oh, it's cold. Well, hello again. How do I start these?
Hello, Internet.
It seems so forced nowadays. Hello, Internet, and welcome back. It's probably a few weeks after Christmas. Out in the woods, it's very cold, but I wanted to do a little bow review I've been meaning to do for the best part of a year. Now, it's a bow review I've been quite excited about doing because it's the bow I'm currently shooting. And I always quite like doing a review when it's my own gear, something that I've actually used myself and I've put through its paces over however many months I've been shooting it for. And the bow I'm going to talk to you today about is this. Now, this is the Striker Classic Take Down Recurve. You may know, probably a year or so ago, I did a review on the Sport Takedown Recurve. They are in fact very similar in construction. Think of it as the Striker Classic as a slight upgrade from the Sport. You've got some slightly better features, some fancier woods and whatnot. All in all, very similar bows, but I wanted to talk about this anyway because, like I say, it's the bow I'm shooting, and it's the bow that I just sort of pick up whenever I'm going shooting. I was sent this by Dusty from Striker, say about a year ago, because I damaged my shoulder. Cut a long story short, it was a very old ice hockey injury from 2001, and I'm getting older and whatnot, so it flares up. So I dropped down from 50 odd pounds, I think it was 53 pounds or something, down to this, which is 41 pounds at 28 inches, and it was a whole world better. It was really comfortable, partly due to it's a very short riser. This bow. I mean, this bow is locked in at 60 inches for the time being. You've got a 14-inch riser, which leaves the rest is just quite a long limb, which means it's very smooth on the draw. That's one of the reasons why I really like the Strikers, how smooth they are sort of coming up to full draw. It really is a pleasure to pull back, especially with a bit of a busted shoulder. But yeah, this bow is available poundage wise, I believe, from about 30 all the way up to about 60 in about 5 pound increments, I think. Like I say, it's locked in at 60 inches long. The main construction here is, or the main wood in the construction is bow coat or bocote. But the one thing they have done to this bow, this is the 2018 model, and what they did in 2018, they swapped out one of the veneers here for red elm. It used to be yellow phenolic, I think, which is great if you like yellow bows, absolutely perfect. But I think changing it to the red elm is a real nice move. It makes the bow look a lot classier, really quite an elegant looking bow. If you don't like yellow, then you wouldn't really like the Classic. I mean, my Classic longbow, that's got the yellow phenolic in it, and it looks absolutely stunning. But if you're not into yellow, then it's probably going to put you off. So I think that's a good move, putting that as the red elm, very classy looking bow. You have a shelf that is cut past center. It's not a center shot bow, but that shelf is cut past center, which is something we all quite like. You've got bamboo in the limbs. Now it's action bamboo, I believe, front and back with Gordon glass, so it's a good quality fiberglass. It's clear, but it's because it's quite thick. It gives it that milky quality to the limb, which diffuses the bow coat in the limbs, which I actually quite like. I think it breaks up the bow a little bit. I actually, if I'm completely honest, I sometimes shoot these limbs off my Sport Takedown riser. I just think it breaks up the lines a little bit, just gives you a nice little bit of a contrast. But again, that's one of the reasons why I quite like these Striker bows. They're very interchangeable. You can swap limbs around and whatnot, and give yourself a different bow if you would, every now and again, which if you've got a couple of them. Again, you've got the Striker limb system, which is a very simple interchangeable limb. You've got 2 little pegs in there plus your screw, so it keeps those limbs in place, and it does make it easier to swap things around. You've got an upgraded washer on there. It's a brass washer instead of a black plastic washer. It's not a lot, but it's just a simple thing can change the look of a bow, and I think it does look quite classy with those. The other thing I really like about this bow is that it's reinforced on the back of the limb with phenolic. Now, I don't know too many bows that do that. Plenty of bows are reinforced at the front, not many are reinforced at the back, so that does mean you can put a very high performing string on there. It comes with a 18 strand fast flight, but I've upgraded mine to a 14 strand hybrid Grizzly string. I mean, why wouldn't I? But yeah, that's got a slightly different string on there. I like the hybrids. They're nice and quiet and fast and sort of the best of both worlds, really. And then it's just a recurve. Now, if you know me, then you'll know that my heart belongs to longbows, or hybrid longbows with a reflex deflex. So I'm hoping to at some point get my hands on a set of hybrid limbs for this, but at the moment I'm using these recurves, and it's quite an aggressive recurve, and it almost gets into static recurve territory there. Not quite, but I think it's on the border of. But it's the bow just unwinds really nicely, and it puts arrows down, but it is a very smooth, comfortable shooting bow. Well, just as a little sidebar here, did want to speed test it, especially with my new arrows. If anything, just so I knew roughly what sort of speeds it was kicking out. But I did have a little bit of an accident. Oops. So yeah, sorry. And it's the sort of bow that puts a big smile on your face. I mean, that's what I always said. Shoot the bow that gives you the biggest smile. And this and probably the RK1, the two bows at the moment that really do put a big smile on my face. So I've rambled on about this bow way too much. So I'm going to strap the old Selway on here. I'm going to have a little walk around the woods, and I'll try and talk to you as we go. I mean, I can't really do reaction video as I shoot it, because it's the bow I shoot all the time, but I will try and talk to you as I'm shooting it and let you know sort of how it feels, and then we'll have a bit of a roundup at the end. But it's good to be back. I'll see you in a little bit. I just wanted to stop for a little bit and tell you about these. Now these are my new arrows that I'm playing with. These are Grizzly Sticks. These are Momentum Black Grizzly Sticks, and that is probably the best name for an arrow I think I've ever come across. But a buddy of mine, Lale, put me onto these because they're a little bit different. They are a continuous taper, which means they're bigger at one end than they are at the other. It's got built-in FOC and this, that and the other. I mean, theoretically, well, they are a hunting shaft really. They're not really built for 3D or target or anything, but they just seemed a little bit different, and I just fancied trying something a bit different. Especially when another buddy of mine, Kev, sent me from Robin Hood Archery, sent me some wooden arrow shafts sort of last year, and they were a tapered arrow shaft, and I got some really good results with those, considering they were wooden arrows. So when these were sort of brought to my attention, I thought I'd give them a go. Now they're a bit more expensive than I normally go for an arrow, and you buy them in sixes rather than dozens. But I'm getting some really good results out of them, and I'm really enjoying them. But yeah, these are 450 spine. I'm shooting those out of a 41-pound bow, decent bit of weight up front. But yeah, I've bare shafted them and whatnot, and they seem to be flying well. But I just wanted to share with you about what arrows I'm shooting. So I'm just going to chuck a couple down range at this deer, and then we'll carry on our merry way. Pretty quiet. They are they're a bit heavier than what I'm used to. But the thing is, with this bow, I've shot skinny arrows, I've shot fat arrows, I've shot all manner of arrows. It's like the quest for the perfect arrow to go alongside the quest for the perfect shooting glove. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied. I mean, maybe I will be if I keep putting in arrows like that. That's not too bad at all. All right, last one. Nice. See, one of the things I universally love about the striker bows is the grip. Now, I'm always going on about grips and low grips and slim grips. The grips across the striker range all seem to fit my hand really nicely. I can transition between this, the Sport, and the Sport longbow and Classic, and even RK1. And I don't have to change anything, it just fits the hand nicely. This feels just as nice as the longbow does in the hand. Now they do, on a couple of the custom versions, they do a slight different grip. They do a slightly bigger grip if you request it. But yeah, grip's very important to me when it comes to a bow. It can make or break a bow for me, really. Having the right grip. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I went for years thinking I really like low grips. I do, but what I actually really like is a slim grip. That's what suits me, I think. A nice slim grip. I just wish I was slim. Okay, so that has been the Striker Classic Takedown Recurve. Now, I always enjoy doing a review on my own gear. I feel like I can be a little bit more heartfelt about it because it's the gear that I use. It's been tried and tested. I mean, sometimes when I get a bow to do a review on, I only get to shoot it for a couple of weeks before I do the review. So I can give you my impressions of the bow, but I can't really give you the real nitty gritty and the nuts and bolts of it because I haven't shot it for that long. But this, I've had it for months. I've tried and tested it. It's been all over the world with me. It's come to Austria, to the Gathering. It's the bow I took to Itar over the summer, well, last summer now. It just suits me so well. It's so smooth. It's like a breath of fresh air for my shoulder. I can tell you that. It is got really nice long limbs. It's very smooth on the draw. That's something that's very important to me, as well as that grip. I'm always going on about bow grips, and that's the one thing that really sort of drew me to Striker in the first place was that grip. It's just a really nice, fits the hand beautifully. Now, the only negatives I could possibly say about this bow, I mean, I was trying to give you some negatives, is that is a very short sight window. That's not going to suit everybody. It took me a little bit of a while to get used to such a short sight window, but like anything with archery, you can adapt and change, and when I first started, it wasn't quite into that sight window, but now it's not an issue. It was a little bit of a stumbling block to get over to start with, but other than that, it's absolutely fine now. The other issue I had with it was the bow coat at the back here. This is the bow I used to qualify for the European 3Ds. I didn't end up going, but I qualified. But they made me tape up the back of the bow here, or the belly of the bow, because this bow coat's quite pronounced, and I didn't really like doing that. I don't like putting tape and things on bows. It's not a huge thing to me, but yeah, I had to put tape on it. it's no big deal really, but it's something you might be aware of if you do want to use this as a world archery tournament bow. I say it's a really elegant, nice shooting bow. I mean, if I could have my way, my dream way to it, I'd love some longbow limbs on it. Like I said before, I really love the reflex deflex nature of a longbow. I think it's one of the prettiest profiles you can get is a nice reflex deflex limb. I'd like to be able to see one of those. Maybe I don't have something they'll do, but yeah, I mean, you probably see that I've got little dinks all over this bow. Like I say, I've used it. It's my bow, and I wouldn't use it if I didn't think it was good. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't think it was good. But yeah, the guys at Striker really know what they're doing when they're making a bow. The company founder Rick Ellis, he knows his stuff when it comes to bows. He's been there, he's done that. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, those guys have put together a really nice bow, and it's been my pleasure to share it with you today. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you haven't think I've rambled on for too long, but it's the first time I got out to the woods since Christmas, so it's nice to be out here, try and blow off a bit of the rust, maybe lose a bit of that turkey tummy. But anyway, it's good to be back. You take care, shoot straight, and I'll see you on the internet. Bye bye.